ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधानाथ स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सखगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पदे गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसूते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ईश्वरा परम कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारणम। हरे कृष्ण। By the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, we are nicely studying Bhagavad Gita. So we are in the 6th chapter. We finished 8 slokas in the 6th chapter, being Saturday evening in US and Sunday morning in India. So we are studying in the 6th chapter. So Krishna is teaching us about Dhyana Yoga. 6th chapter is Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana means meditation. So yoga means achieving the status of equanimity. So achieving the status of equanimity by meditation. So that's what is called Dhyana Yoga. So this is a very important part of the yoga. Yoga itself, this Bhagavad Gita, entire Bhagavad Gita is yoga. So when we study this entire Bhagavad Gita and follow Bhagavad Gita, it is known as yoga. So even in order to perform our karma, that is karma yoga, to perform our activities, we need to fix our mind on Krishna, then only we can perform our duties correctly. So that's why this dhyana yoga is actually needed even to do our karma yoga. So that way we simply cannot say that which yoga is better, is karma yoga is better or dhyana yoga is better, not like that. So ultimately, we need to reach the status of equanimity. So that means we should not be affected by the results. So nothing should bother us, nothing should affect us. So that's what we should achieve. So in order to achieve that, first we need to study and understand this Bhagavad Gita and then follow what all Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is teaching us about how to perform our duties, how to perform our activities. And Krishna is also teaching us about how to control our mind. So that is the Dhyana Yoga. So by following this Dhyana Yoga, if we are able to control our mind, then our mind will become our best friend. So then we will achieve the peace of mind and then ultimate happiness. So that is the real happiness what we need to experience in our life. The real happiness comes from this Bhagavad Gita knowledge only. So this Bhagavad Gita gives that peace of mind. Because this Bhagavad Gita gives us the knowledge about how to control our mind. So Krishna is teaching very, very nicely, very clearly about how to control, how to focus our mind on Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it's very important we should actually maintain a very healthy body, healthy life in order to control our mind. So our mind control also depends upon our physical well-being. So our mental well-being is also a function of our physical well-being. So physically, so our body we need to take care very well. So then only we can actually take care of our mind. Then only we can control our mind. So for that reason, Krishna has given us this body. We need to effectively maintain this body by taking proper diet, by offering prasadam unto Krishna, by sleeping enough. So all those things in this sixth chapter we are going to study at length. So Krishna is going to teach us. We already many times in the past I have quoted those slokas also. So by doing all those things, our distress will be completely vanished. Dukkha. So yogo bhavati dukkha. So that is the way to free from all the miseries of this material existence by yoga. That's what yogo bhavati dukkha. So, but Krishna is teaching very scientifically about how to control our mind in this chapter, in this sixth chapter in the Dhyana Yoga, very, very clearly. So we just have to follow very nicely. So what we studied in the beginning, Krishna said that in the first sloka in the sixth chapter, Krishna said that Anasridaka karma palam karyam karma karotyaga sa sannyasi cha yogi cha naniragnir nachakriyaga. So we understood about the definition for sannyasi. Sannyasi and yogi both are same. Because both will not be attached to the results of the activities. Anashridaka karma palam. That's what is very important. Anashridaka karma palam. So if you are not attached to the results of the activities and if we perform all our activities, so then we are sannyasi and yogi. So that is the way to achieve the status of yoga also. So yadahi na indriyartesu na karmasu anusajjate. So that is the thing. So then only we will not be attached to the results of the activities. Because if you are not attached to the sense objects, so if you are not attached to the sense objects, then we won't be attached to the results of our activities. That's what yadagi na indriyarteshu na karmasu anusajjate. So na karmasu anusajjate. So one who is not attached to the fruits of the activities, na karmas anusajjate. So he is a sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudas tadochyate. So many times we studied in the past in this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very clearly teaching us that by experiencing the higher taste, that means experiencing this Krishna consciousness, by surrendering unto Krishna, surrendering all our works unto Krishna, Mayi sarvani karmani sannyasyadyatma chetasa nirasi nirmamo bhutva yudyasva vigata jvaraga. That's what Krishna said. So all your activities, you perform all your activities by surrendering unto me. That's what Mayi sarvani karmani sannyasya. So sannyasyaste. So sarva karmani manasa sannyasyaste sukham vasi. So if you do that, if you are able to surrender all our activities for Krishna, Mayi sarvani karmani sannyasaste chetasa. Sannyasyadyatma chetasa. Sannyasyadyatma chetasa. So if we do that, so then we will be able to live happily in this body. If we are able to surrender all our works unto Krishna, all our activities unto Krishna, everything we do it for Krishna, so then we will be able to lead a happy life. So that's what Sukham Vasi. So Sukham Vasi means happy. Sukham Vasi navadvare purai degi naiva kurva nakare. So we need to actually learn that tactics, learn that methods, how to actually achieve happiness by surrendering all our works unto Krishna. Once we experience that happiness, then we won't give it up. We won't give them up. Because once we are able to surrender unto Krishna, once we are able to serve Krishna and we experience that happiness, so then we will continue to do that. We will not stop. That's what we are doing. Even our studying Bhagavad Gita every day is just an example. We are able to study Bhagavad Gita every day because we are experiencing that happiness. Because we are experiencing that happiness, we are studying Bhagavad Gita every day. Now this has become an integral part of our life, studying Bhagavad Gita. So like that, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra also should become very much our integral part of our life, our regular daily activity in our life, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So like that, preparing prasadam and offering to Krishna also should become our daily activity. So now we imagine, like without knowing this knowledge, without understanding this knowledge, we will be simply wasting our life, wasting our time. But now, Krishna has given us the opportunity to study and understand this Bhagavad Gita. So we are studying Bhagavad Gita every day. So that way, this time we are very wisely spending, very nicely spending, and very effectively in Krishna conscious way. We are actually studying Bhagavad Gita. So we are progressing. So now, when we actually follow all these instructions given by Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita, so that means chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and preparing prasadam and offering prasadam to Krishna and spreading this message and telling others that we are studying Bhagavad Gita. So like that, if we keep on adding all the activities which are related to Krishna, which are meant to please Krishna. So that's what known as Krishna conscious activities. So if we keep our life very busy like that, all the time focusing only on Krishna conscious services, Krishna conscious activities, so then we don't have any other time to waste actually. That's what is very important. All the time, if we make sure all the time we are able to spend effectively, we are able to use effectively. Because Krishna himself is the time. Krishna is the time. Aham kalosmi. In the 11th chapter we studied. So that way, if we study this Bhagavad Gita and spend all the time effectively in Krishna's service, so then we will not have any time to waste. So that way, we will be constantly connected with Krishna. So when we are able to serve Krishna like that, all the time engaged in Krishna's service like that, that means even our work, when we go to work, whatever we do, it will become Krishna conscious. So anything we do in our life, it will be Krishna conscious. Because we are not going to forget Krishna at all. We will remember Krishna always. So that will help us to remember Krishna all the time. So that way, if we progress in our life with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, so then we will be, when the death comes, at the time of death, at the time also our mind will be very busy actually, remembering Krishna only. Because we will not have any attachment to anything in this material world. So we will not have any attachment to anything. So at that time our mind will be very, very busy remembering Krishna. That's why we need to train our mind. That's what in the 6th chapter in the Dhyana Yoga, that's what we are studying, that Krishna is asking us to train our mind. Exercise. It's an exercise for our mind. This chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is the way we can actually control our mind. Our mind will become our best friend. If we just leave our mind, if we don't do this exercise, same thing like body, if we don't do any exercise for the body, so then the fat builds up, then all kinds of diseases will come, then heart attack, stroke, so many diseases just because we don't maintain proper health. If you are not able to do exercise, if you are not able to walk, if you are not able to control our diet, if you are not able to control our sleep, all those things, whatever Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, if we are not able to do, then all kinds of health problems will come to us. So that way, Krishna is very clearly teaching us in Bhagavad Gita, you control your diet, control your sleep, control your activities, everything. Because that way, we can lead a healthy life. Our body will function properly. All the organs in our body will work very well. Then we will be able to actually control the mind. So Krishna is saying that in one place, without controlling the mind, there is no yoga. Without controlling the mind, there is no yoga. Asamyatat mano yoga dusprapa iti me mati. So similarly, without controlling our activities, our diet, our sleep, and our other activities in our life, we cannot control our mind. Na ati asnatastu yogosti, na chaikanta manasnataka, na cha ati swapna silasya, jagrato naiva chatu. So it all boils down that in our daily life, every activity should be in a regulated way. We should be able to regulate all our activities. So that means our needs we should actually restrict. Our needs we should define very well. We cannot unnecessarily increase our needs. If we keep increasing our needs unnecessarily, so then we will be wasting our time. Because we will be going after material wealth, we will be going after material sense objects. So that way we will be wasting a lot of time. Because once we waste time like this, then we cannot focus on Krishna. We cannot remember Krishna at the time of death. Because this Kama and Krodha are our enemies. And if we are attached to material sense objects, those enemies are going to destroy us. All devouring sinful enemy. Mahasana, Mahapapma, Vidyenamiga, Vairina. So this Kama and Krodha. So only with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita we can come out of, we can conquer, we can Jagi Satru Mahabhago, Kama Rupam Durasadam. We can conquer our insatiable enemy. So only by controlling our mind. So Samstabhyatmanam Atmanagam. Only by controlling our mind it is possible for us to control this Kama and Krodha. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is teaching us very clearly about how to control the mind. So if we are able to control the mind, then we will be able to control, free ourselves from the Rajoguna, then we will be able to control this Kama and Krodha, lust and anger. So we need to understand this Bhagavad Gita fully, then only all these things are possible. So in the 6th chapter, we finished actually 8 slokas. So last week what we studied, Krishna taught us that in the 5th sloka, Uddaret atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiviga atmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmana. So one can elevate oneself with the mind, or one can degrade himself. So Uddare atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. One should not degrade himself, because the mind is friend as well as enemy. For a person who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind will remain the worst enemy. Bandhuratmat atmanastasya yenatmaiva atmanajitaga. Bandhuratmat manastasya yenatmaiva atmanajitaga. Anatmanastu satrutve vartetatmaiva satruvate. That's what we study. So if you are able to control our mind, jitatmanaga prashantasya paramatma samahitaga. So when we are able to control our mind, jitatmanagam, then our mind is very peaceful, prashantasya. Then paramatma samahitaga. Then we will be able to reach the Paramatma. We will be able to realize the super soul. That's what Paramatma Samahitaga. At that point of time, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Tata Mana Apamanu. Heat and cold, happiness and distress, honor and dishonor, they all look the same. So then we finished with the 8th sloka last week. In the 8th sloka in the 6th chapter, Krishna taught us that Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Vijitendriyaga Yukta Ityuchate Yogi Samalostrasma Kanchanaga. So Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. So one who is satisfied with both theoretical and experimental knowledge. So Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Vijitendriyagam. So one who has controlled the senses and situated in the spiritual platform. That's what Kutasto Vijitendriyagam Yukta Ityuchate Yogi. So he is known as Yukta Ityuchate Yogi. So that yogi is actually Yukta. So he is performing Yukta Ityuchate Yogi Samalostrasma Kanchana. So he is equal. He treats the lostra, means pebble stones, and asma, that is kanchana, that is gold. So lostrasma kanchana, pebbles, stones and gold, everything he will see with equal vision. That's what samal lostrasma kanchana. So now in this sloka what we are studying, starting from the 9th sloka, Krishna is teaching in the 6th chapter. So when we are able to control our mind like that, so then Sugrun Mitrari Udasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhushu Sadhuswapicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate. So Sugrun Mitrari Udasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhushu. So Sugrun means well-wishers. Mitra means friends, basically benefactors with affection. That's what Prabhupada translated. And Ari means enemies. So Surun Mitrari Udasina. Udasina means the neutrals. So Udasina. Madhyastha means mediators. Madhyastha. Dveshya Bandhusu. Dveshya means those who are envious, and Bandhusu means those who are relatives. Sadhuswapicha Papesu. Sadhus means saints and Papes means sinners. So for such a person who has conquered the mind, for him everyone will be equal. So he won't be seeing them differently. Because Krishna himself says that Samogam Sarvabhutesu Name Dvesho Asti Na Priyaga. So I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to everyone. That's what Krishna is saying. So a devotee who has conquered the mind, when the mind is our best friend, So then it is the same case for the devotee also. The devotee will see everyone with equal vision. So that's what Sugrun Mitrari Udasina Madhyastha Dveshya Bandhusu Sadhu Swapicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishat. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners. So all with an equal mind. So that's what Krishna is teaching. So then Krishna is teaching that in the next sloka, in the sloka number 10. Yunjanyevam yogi yunjita sathatam atmanam rahashistitaga ekakiyata chittatma nirashira parigraha yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahashistitaga. So the yogi, so we already understood about yogi. Yogi means who is controlling the mind, who is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So his Yunjita means he is actually focusing on Krishna. That's what Yunjita. Satatam, always. Atmanam Ragasistitaga. Atmanam means with body, mind, self, everything. So Atmanam, he himself, so his Ragasistitaga means secluded place. So in a secluded place, Ragasistitaga. Yogi Yunjita Satatam Atmanam Ragasistitaga. Ekaki yatachittatma nirashir aparigraha. So with one mind, with focus, with thoughts completely, eka means single, so it's alone. So ekaki yatachittatma, his mind is completely focused only on Krishna. So nirashir aparigraha, so without any desires, nirashir, so not having any desires. So that's what nirasi aparigraha. Aparigraha means without any feeling for proprietorship, so no feeling of possessiveness. So that's what aparigraha. So tyakta sarva parigraha. In another sloka in the 4th chapter we studied, Krishna said tyakta sarva parigraha. Yadirchalabha santushto dvandva nirasiyata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha sariram kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilvisham. So tyakta sarva parigraha. So here Krishna is saying that aparigraha. Nirasi aparigraha. So one who is free from the feeling of possessiveness. So that's what the yogi will do. So yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasistata. So basically a transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. So that's what Krishna is teaching about the yogi. So now next, the 11th and 12th slokas together, Krishna is teaching us about how to actually, where to sit. And already in the previous sloka, Krishna said that yogi yunjita sadatam atmanam rahasistitaga. Rahasistitaga means it's a secluded place. And Krishna is teaching us a little bit more about the place, the seating, the arrangement, how we are going to sit, because we need to control our mind. This is a very important process actually. So Krishna is teaching us very clearly here in the 11th and 12th sloka. Suchau deshe pratistapya sthiramasanamaatmanaga natyuchritam natinicham Chailajina kushotaram tatraikagram manakritva yatha chittendriya kriyaga upavishyashane yunjat yogamatma vishuddhaye. Suchau deshe pratishtapya. So it's a clean place. That's what sanctified place. Suchau deshe. So we need to Suchau deshe pratishtapya means we need to select a secluded place already. Yogi yunjita sadatam atmanam rahasistitaga in the previous sloka. So that rahasistitaga, that secluded place also should be a sanctified place. Suchau deshe. So very clean one. Suchau deshe pradistapya stiram asanam atmanaga. Where we need to, our asanam, the seat. So it should be firm. So stiram asanam atmanagam. So for us to sit there, so stiram asanam atmanagam, that seat should neither be too high or not too low. Na ati uchritam, na ati nicham. That's what not uchritam, not ati nicham. So that's what Krishna is saying there. So it should neither be too high or not too low. Chailajina kusotram. Chailajina kusotram. Chailajina means it is the deer skin or soft cloth. So kusotram means the kusa grass. So that's what kusotram. Chailajina kusotram. So covering the Chailajina kusotram. And Krishna is saying why here deer skin and all, because at that time when Krishna told, when devotees go out and sit and do all these things in the outside environment, so in order to avoid the insects and other things to come there, so to avoid that, so that's why Krishna is saying that this kusa grass and deer skin, all those things. But now for us, when we are going to find our secluded place and sanctified place only inside our home, so that way we really don't need all these things, kusa grass or deer skin, all such things. So Chailajina kusotram. Tatraikagram manakrit. Of course, devotees will not go and kill a deer to get the deer skin. So from the dead deer only they will use it at that time. But now it's not applicable. So Tatraikagram manakritva yata chittendriya kriyam. So by sitting there, so focusing our mind, manakritva yata chittendriya kriyam. So our chitta, our thoughts, indriya, our senses, everything. So ekagram means with one undivided attention. That's what ekagram. So manakritva, our mind. So focusing our mind, single-minded, basically single-minded. That's what ekagram manakritva. Yatha chittendriya kriya upavisyasane. So by sitting in that asana, by sitting there upavisyasane, yunjat yogamatma visuddhem. So they will engage in performing this yoga to purify the self, atma visuddhe. So that's what yunjat yogamatma visuddhe. So this is what Krishna is teaching us, how to control our mind. We are going to study even in the next 4 slokas also. Krishna is going to teach us even more clearly what we should do. But if we follow this, then we will be able to control our mind. So that way, to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and soft cloth. So the seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. So that's what is main thing. So fixing the mind on one point. Ekagram manakritva. Ekagram manakritva means fixing the mind on one point. What is that one point? We are going to study in the next sloka. Krishna is very clearly teaching us that manasamyamya marchito. That one point is Krishna. So we need to fix our mind on Krishna, so then we can control our mind. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished the sloka numbers 9 to 12 today. So four more slokas in the 6th chapter. Hare Krishna. I'll stop now and we'll discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna.